get after it. Another episode.
Let's go.
Another great night of the Building Walls podcasts.
Real man of
I'm excited.
genius.
That's right.
That's us, buddy. That's us.
The official beer of the Building Walls podcast.
Guinness. That's not the real men of genius. Isn't that? Real men of genius is Bud Light, right? Bud Light.
Bud Light presents.
Yeah.
Real man of genius.
So what would it be for Guinness? Since if we're starting the show.
The Guinness Book of World Records, dude.
There we go. So the best beer is obviously Guinness beer because it's the best beer.
World record.
You can't deny that.
Right. Shit. I added this into the show notes earlier. I just looked over and saw it. Have you heard of this phrase, quiet quitting?
Quiet quitting. I have not heard that, but if I had to guess, I would imagine it means just quitting and not saying anything to anybody and just not ever showing up ever again.
No, it's not. It's not exactly that.
It's not ghosting.
No, it's not.
It's ghosting. Ghosting, I feel like could be like loud. If you were like a tormenting demon or something like that, people go, I got ghosted. I don't even know what that means. Like every haunted house I've always seen is loud, but in this case, apparently it's not that. So what does it mean?
It's about doing less at work. So it's about being lazy. So I'm just going to read snippets. I'm going to read snippets out of here. So this is the premise of the article. In 2021, this is in the United Kingdom. So this is where it started, but my brother called me earlier, said he heard this on a talk radio show. I was like, what? What are you talking about? So it says 1/5 of UK workers still say they plan to resign in the next year in search of greater job satisfaction and better pay. I mean, sure. I mean, that's what everyone wants, right? And it says, if you're unhappy at work, but leaving your job isn't an option or there are no appealing alternatives, you may want to try quiet quitting. This trend of simply doing the bare minimum expected at work has clearly resonated with young people. I don't want to say we have, I guess it's a question to you. Have we lost all sense of value in ourselves? You don't get paid more at your job for doing what you are expected to do, the bare minimum. You get a raise because your boss says, we love the job that you're doing. We don't want to lose you. You need to get paid more.
Oh, Chad. Here we go. Let me tell you, in the corporate, if you ain't screwing up, you ain't moving up. That's the secret. You got to screw up to move up. And it's because they don't want you in their company anymore. They don't want you, in the division. So they promote you. They promote you out to a different role. So if you ain't screwing up, you ain't moving up.
I think one of the best lines about this whole article is quiet quitting is not about avoiding work. It is about not avoiding a meaningful life outside of work.
So they're trying to justify, work-life balance. Is that what it is?
I guess, dude. I have no idea.
By the way, there is no such thing. There's no such thing as work-life balance. It's all a mirage. It's designed to keep you just sucking at life. You have to commit to something. You have to commit to, your trade, your profession. You have to commit at what you do well. And
what you do well, I like that.
But that's the thing. See, like you might be like, well, this person just sucks at everything. Well, but they're good at something. And even though they might not be the best in their profession, they might be on a scale like they have a skill that they're only a 6 at. And, people perform at a 7, 8, 9, 10, but that's what they should lock in and double down on. That's their life. That's live your best for you. It's always a personal best type thing. Have some pride. Have some pride in what you do. I mean, I think, honestly, I really do think that is the biggest problem is people are too scatterbrained. They do too many different things and they never get better for themselves. And then they get frustrated and then they quiet quit and come up with BS like this.
Dude, that might be the best thing said on this show ever. That's fantastic. I mean, just talking about, because that's the truth. I know that for a fact because the previous job that I have and the one that I'm doing now until I find someone to do the work I don't want to do, it makes me tired. It drains the life out of me because I don't enjoy it. It's not a part of my skills. So I don't enjoy doing the work of running the business in this regard. I like doing other things to run the business, to build the business and things like that. That's what I'm passionate about. That's what I enjoy. And I have way more energy at the end of the week when I do those things. So, but it's also a point to, I feel like part of the reason why I am where I am now, and I'm not anywhere special, but I'm in a better spot than I was 12 months ago, is because I didn't just fold up and quietly quit. I busted my butt every day.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Are you saying that your life is better under the Biden administration?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
This is breaking news. God.
Do we have a breaking news alert? Building Whalls. Breaking news. Chad's life is better under Joe Biden than his previous 4-year administration of the Trump administration.
Dude, imagine how much better my life would be if the Trump administration was still in office.
Oh, no, for real.
Oh, my God. That's another, dude, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. This is a fantastic start to our show because what people don't understand is, yeah, the Biden administration sucks and the economy sucks and your life is worse off than it would have been if Trump was still in office. But that doesn't have to stop you because Biden is in office from moving backwards in life. Right? There was still a ton of, for instance, I don't know why this came to mind, but during the housing market crash, a ton of real estate agents stopped doing real estate. But there was also a ton of real estate agents who took advantage of the opportunity and became millionaires through it.
Right.
Because they stuck to the course. They learned how to grow through that adverse opportunity. That's how it is in every part of your life. Don't blame someone else just because you're weak in a certain area. Say, I suck, and ask for help. And then have someone else do it for you.
Exactly.
But, dude, what do you think about this quiet quitting? I don't know. Let me see when this article was. I didn't even glance at that. Oh, God.
I mean, I've never heard of it.
Today.
I mean, until right now, this is breaking. Dude, that's the breaking news for me. I've never heard of this before.
It's released today at 8:58 a.m. IST. So that's probably England Standard Time of some sorts. But, dude, I just don't get it. It's like when you do work that you enjoy, just dude, what you said at the start was so awesome. When you do work that you enjoy, when you are good at what you do and you enjoy that, it doesn't seem like work. You can do it for 16 hours a day and still have energy.
I just think we get too much of a comparison, you know, because people go, well, I can never be the best in this industry, so I don't want to try. And it's like, well, you got to be the best of you and then let the chips fall where they may. You know, because if you're not going to be the best in the things that you like, you're probably not going to be the best in things you don't like. I'm just throwing that out there. Just saying.
I mean, dude, I remember having a conversation with my old boss, and he was getting mad at me for some things that I was doing. He's like, "Why are you doing this?" And I just said, "Dude, I hate my job. I don't enjoy what I do. I'm not excited to do these things." I go, so tell me what I can do in the interim and also tell me the opportunity that I can have to transition myself into a role that I do enjoy doing. And he held up his end of the bargain because I held up my end of the bargain. But I didn't put in less work just so I would quietly quit and then all of a sudden get paid more on the other end of it. Like, that's not how that works.
But that's how they want it to work.
It's crazy. You want to work less and get paid more, but you don't want to do it yourself. You want to ask someone else to do that for you. That's crazy.
Weak.
That's crazy.
Weak.
So, moving on here. We got some good topics.
We got a damn good show tonight.
So,
I love giving homage to the Hodge twins. I love those guys. Can you imagine if the four of us ever went to dinner?
That dude.
They would be like, yeah, we're twins. And I'd be like, yeah, so are me and Chad. You can't tell us apart. We're totally white.
Yeah, right? All white people. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. Dude, so this is a good question you posed. What happens when the noise of the world drowns out critical thinking?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of going hand in hand with what you're talking about. Almost like that's a segue from the quiet quitting. I think a lot of people just give up. They just let so many other influences into their life that they get beaten down and they're pulled into 20 million different directions because they'll never commit to one. They'll just never commit to being the best of what they could be. And then they allowed the loud noises and the distractions of people telling them that they're not good enough to keep them from sharpening their own skills, I guess is the best way to say it. And so I think there are definitely things that are happening right now, and I'm pretty concerned in the country and feeling the temperature of people that I think there is a break point that's coming. And it comes with emotional stress, and then it comes with financial stress, right? Those two go like hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Why is I'm all choppy? I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were done talking or.
But I think. What do you think, Chad? I mean, for real. No, I was just I was gonna talk, but then my camera froze, so I was like, "Oh gosh, here we go again." My stupid
internet. Pay that internet
Spectrum,
bill, dude.
Not the best.
Dude, I have Spectrum
for
too,
real, bro.
And we live states away. Dude, it's amazing. Just like we're twins.
Unbelievable.
No, yeah, I mean, financial stress has got to be one of the biggest things. That how many times do people, or maybe growing up, right? You had parents, hey, mom, dad, can I get some new baseball cleats for the season? Mine are falling apart. We don't have the money for that. Why are you asking me for something else? And you're like, whoa, I need some baseball cleats.
Sure.
There's a lot of people that go through that. And when there's, dude, seeing the word economic makes me think that before they signed the Inflation Reduction Act, and the Biden administration has done this for so much stuff. They come out and say, 17 global leading economists said that this was better for the economy and would decrease inflation. But then you read article after article after article, and it's like leading economists say this will increase inflation and does nothing to combat inflation. Like, tell us who those 17 economists are. Let's all write them a letter. Because guess what? You don't have 17 economists who actually believe this is good for the country when you look at the numbers of it. We talked about this last week, and now it's signed into law. Inflation Reduction Act. Its first thing, the purpose of it is to create money that was not previously there. That is a direct correlation to how inflation happens.
Think about how this all started, though. It all started from people complaining about a livable wage. Do you remember that phrase? We need a livable wage. Minimum. We can't survive on minimum wage. And
you should be able to survive at part-time.
I mean, when in the mid 90s, it was $4 an hour. It's like $4.25 an hour, something like that. Okay, so, and it was, I mean, I guess upwards to just maybe a handful of years ago. What was it at? Like 8? So it had doubled.
Yeah, $7.25, I think. That's the number I'm thinking.
Yeah. So it hadn't even doubled in 25 years, right? And all of a sudden, you're at $12 an hour, 13, 14, and then that magic number, $15 an hour. So you took the minimum wage for the economy, you removed the floor, and you raised it up double, and then you're shocked that the system reset itself and all the cost of goods and services doubled. And that's inflation. But they created that. So it's resetting everything. Everybody's getting upset, with what they could do. You think about it like in these terms. If you made $100,000 this year, that bought and conveyed less, goods and services than it did 2 years ago. For the same amount of money. So now you need to really get into whether or not this is why my partner Brandon, and we've had him on the show before, Brandon Gentili, and we'll get him back on. But man, we could talk about Bitcoin and crypto isn't so much speculation as much as it is freedom. Freedom from this crap. Because it's a proof of work system. It doesn't, you don't get to inherit a ton of, I don't even know how to say, it's not wealth. You have to start over. You have to earn it. You have to do work and trade. And that's gonna be, it's more of an issue of freedom. For me, I think that's the one thing that Brandon has really bestowed upon me is that Bitcoin equals freedom. Freedom from the world system where they manipulate things and they just get out of control. But yeah, when that stuff starts breaking down, though, people get super angry. When they get super angry, that's when crime starts happening, and you're seeing it all over the country with a rise in crime. Couple that with idiotic decisions of defunding police and crime control. Let's reduce measures for crime prevention and increase the anger creating the crime. Wow. I don't know who's in the boardroom and making these decisions, but this is not, I'm in
Joe
Livonia.
Biden.
I'm in Livonia. For real. Bro, we're in Livonia. You're in South Carolina and TA is in Nebraska. And we got this, the surface level part. You just, if you pull in the levers, chugga, chugga, chug. This is not hard to figure out that people are going to get mad. And then I just think we're just waiting for a powder keg moment.
Speaking of that,
I thought it might have been the raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, right.
I thought that could have been it. It didn't, thank God. But that's the stuff I'm talking about. A couple more of those things. People lose faith in government, and then why? I mean, dude, why do I have to pay taxes? I'm not going to pay taxes. I don't want to pay for this.
Right. I forget what I was seeing the other day, but man, did I save a picture in my phone? Maybe. Let me see. No, I'm not sure. But there was, you can think of probably numerous moments, but there's people out there who want to make you and me believe, and everyone else, that America is such a bad country, right? They want you to believe that slavery, racism is this terrible thing in America. Yet gays get killed in the Middle East all the time. Women can't even show their face.
Ask Brittany Griner how it's going.
Thank you. Brittany Griner thought America was such a terrible place. You know what? Until she gets locked up in Russia for smoking weed for 9 years. Is America a bad place now? But then the more you dig into it, there's a reason they want you to believe these things. There's a reason Black Lives Matter wants you to believe this. Because you take action when you're pissed off. You don't take action because you're comfortable where you are. You take action when you're outside of your comfort zone in a good way or a bad way. but they use it in a bad way. They use it to provoke anger, for you to get outside your comfort zone, to take action, to stir up something, right? So you have to believe that America is worse off. Because if you think America's great, hunky-dory, everything's going good, you're not going to take action. So they don't make money off their scams of a Black Lives Matter if you think everything's great. But if you think your neighbor is racist and every white person you come across is racist or black or whoever, and it's such a bad country that we live in, and we need to stand up and fight. We need to let everyone know how racist everyone is. And you're like, shoot, someone said something to me the other day that seemed racist. I need to stand up and fight. I need to make sure everyone knows. Now you take action and you give money towards this cause, and you help other people give money towards this cause too, because they're your friends and your family and they love you. And how dare anyone say anything cross to you?
How dare you?
Yeah. And then they raise all this money and nothing ever happens. But they want to stir up these thoughts and feelings in you because you're only going to take action if you're not comfortable, which is a success principle and also a way for the Black Lives Matter founders to live in their $3 million mansions while you're still marching the streets and the world is still the way that it is.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Well, and I've said this before, people who do the race baiting and they want to make everybody seem like, yeah, we're the most racist country on the planet and it's so terrible to live here. And yet it's open opportunity. And what cracks me up is like, I get that, like, you want to have inclusion. You want everybody to, feel like they can get to the top or they can. And by and large, I truly believe that anyone can get to any position they want. You might not ever get to be Jeff Bezos. A black dude might not be able to be the CEO and founder of Amazon. Why? Because it's already created. But I believe a black guy or gal could create the next Amazon and get it done. I believe that. I don't believe that it's inherently like prohibited.
It has nothing to do with the color of your skin.
It has nothing to do with that. But the interesting part too is they go, well, we need a better diversity. We need more diversity. Well, no, actually, if you want to go by statistics, that means that 3 out of 4 positions should be filled by white people. Why is that? Because 75% of the population is white.
Right, 17% of
Americans identified. That's not my statistic. That's please reference census, the census. But 13.6% identifies as black or African American. Okay, so that's 14 people out of 100. So if we have 100 leadership positions, 14 of them should be black. And that would be equality in diversity based on demographics that are real numbers. And that's not what they want. You see, that it's all about control. It's not my fault that there are 3 out of 4 people are white. And it's not your fault that, 14 out of 100 are black. It just is what it is. Those are just statistics, fact, just how it is.
Dude, I can't wait for Chris's Corner. I almost mentioned something. I'm like, I'm just going to save it. I'm going to save it for Chris's Corner here.
I'm just saying. But yeah, I agree with you, man. They want you to start thinking that we're this terrible place. But yet, ironically, if you step back, why is everybody fighting to get here? Why would there be an invasion on the southern border on a daily basis from migrants trying to come to such a racist, terrible country that doesn't allow for anybody to have any opportunity? Why? Why would that be? Come on, it doesn't make sense.
I mean, we could go a few minutes on the border crisis about how it's not asylum. These people aren't seeking asylum.
They're not.
They don't have a dictator that's beating them, but we'll save that for another day.
Another day.
Because right now we need to talk about our real men of genius moment.
Oh man, I love it. A new segment on the show.
I know. It's just a good little video. Break it up a little bit. Dude, this is awesome. Here is one way to open a can of beans.
Let's go.
This is our real man of genius.
Bud Light presents Real Men of Genius.
Real Men of Genius.
Today.
Dude, somebody had to have done that on purpose because the way he
100%.
flips the can right over into the
100%.
camera.
That's just good, clean fun right there.
But that song, it gets me every time because if you were growing up and you heard those, you knew the stupidest commercial was about to come on about something just totally wacky and weird.
Have I ever told you my Real Men of Genius story? Real life one?
What is this?
So you'll appreciate this because you're a Michigan guy, right? U of M football.
Yeah.
And it was many, many years ago when I went to the U of M game at the Big House.
Ooh.
And they were playing Notre Dame. Notre Dame. I mean, so Notre Dame, Michigan. That's a pretty good game.
That rivalry is supposed to start again in a few years, I think.
I think so. And I don't remember exactly the year, but it was early 2000s probably, when this was still kind of popular. And I went with a guy that you may know. His name was Jeff Joyner from Cincinnati. And him and I are sitting in the stands and we're watching this. And there's this guy behind us. We're up in like the alumni section, like with a lot of the old people. We're not in the student section where it's rowdy as it can be for the Big House. I mean, but we were up in the, the cheese and wine people just hanging out, happy to be there. And I swear to God, dude, this guy had the air muffs on. He had the radio going. He had the scarf, he was the full package of everything you could imagine. And they were playing Notre Dame. Brady Quinn was the quarterback. Good old Brady Quinn, right? And this guy is screaming at the top of his lungs, Brady Queer, you're dead. He's going on and on. Parsegian's rolling over in his grave. Just everyone around, all these old people are just like, oh, come on, man. And so Joyner goes, Real Men of Genius. Here's to you, Mr. Michigan fan, with your radio on, gonna win a national championship. And I literally sat there and I go, I live in my mom's basement. And everyone around in the entire section started cracking up. And we kept going on and on. He was like, literally like, Jordan would be like, you've got your foam finger, who's number one. My mom loves me. It was so great, dude. But that guy got so embarrassed and he got up and left, and everybody stood up and clapped for us. These people are like,
that's
you
awesome.
Should go on the road. You guys are hilarious. And I'm
awesome.
like, it was just in the peak of that time. So I do love the Real Men of Genius.
Dude,
I think it's a great program. So
I love it.
There you go. Michigan fan. We got the football season coming up. So you ready? Gonna defend your title? Big Ten title?
Dude, I'm more excited about the Lions. You can't watch Hard Knocks and not get fired up. But honestly, the thing I like about the Lions team is that a majority of the coaches are former NFL players. And they're not 30, 40 years removed. They're 5 to 10 years removed. So these guys are still at a point in life where they can run and do stuff and rally the troops. So that's why I think that the Lions have a shot.
Let's just talk about this for a second.
Just compete.
You're watching the Hard Knocks. I just checked the show notes. We don't have anything else in this. And before we get into the rants, which I'm very much looking forward to, let's just talk about this real quick. Because I had Kat watch the first episode of Hard Knocks, and she was getting into it.
Yeah,
she was like,
same with Sydney.
Like, oh wow, because it's a good show. It gives you the behind the scenes. She's like, wow, they're really passionate, and Dan Campbell, hard not to like that guy, and see his passion and his cares, and like he just wears it on his face, and he loves those guys, and he wants to put them in the set. Then you got Deuce Staley and Mark Brunell and all the guys, all the coaches, and they're really highlighting what you just said. They actually, for the first time, I feel like this might be the best coaching staff the Lions have ever assembled. Ever. And so you're getting invested in this. And then the first preseason game happens. And sure enough, in true fashion of the Lions, fumble when they should have just run out the clock. Drop an interception to end the game. Couldn't do that. And on 4th down and forever, give up the touchdown to end the game, essentially. And Cat's like, I can't do this. It hurts too much. It hurts my heart. And I just started laughing. I was like, welcome to the misery that is the Lions. Detroit versus everybody.
I mean, so
everybody wins every time.
I think their defense is definitely going to be sus. But Aiden Hutchinson made the Falcons starting O-line look like rookies.
Well, that and they literally, so the first play of the game, he ran down Mariota. The second play of the game, he chucked the tackle and drilled the running back 4 yards deep in the backfield. Yeah. And then the rest of the game, they double teamed him.
Right. Their defense is 100% sus, but I think that their defense will be better than the players than their roster because of their coaching staff. And I was saying this before last year. Me and my brother were talking on the phone. I was like, dude, this is the first time. And I don't know about other teams. I don't follow other teams. But as far as I know, like an NFL team has hired so many previous former top NFL athletes. Like
Mark Brunell's our quarterback's coach.
Dan Campbell was probably the worst player out of everyone on the coaching staff because Brunell was solid. Deuce Staley was great.
Deuce is loose, man. Everybody loved him.
Aaron Glenn was awesome.
One of the best defensive backs.
Antoine Randall, awesome.
Yeah. Jeez.
Kelvin Shepard, he was good, but he wasn't like a standout guy, but he was a solid.
Still a beast.
Yeah, it's like all these guys they were notable NFL athletes besides the head coach.
All right,
he was good, but he wasn't anything to write home about.
We're halfway through preseason. What's your prediction?
He played for every team.
What's your prediction? Over, under, Lions. How many wins are the Lions going to get this year? 17
I haven't
games.
looked at the schedule. 17 games. I think they'll finish above 500.
Wow. So you're going 9 wins. 9 and 8,
so, dude.
Or better.
At least.
I'm close. I got him at 7 wins.
Jared Goff, remember, Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl.
Correct.
Had a great defense, don't get me wrong, but Jared Goff's solid. The guy can manage a game well.
I tried to call in, actually, to our local radio station, 97.1 The Ticket here, because they were talking about it, and they're like, Jared Goff, he's not the quarterback. You're not going to get in a shootout with him. And I was like, what? One of the greatest games that was ever played was just a couple of years ago when Mahomes and Goff went back and forth, the Rams and the Chiefs. And that was one of the most legendary games. And it was like 40, 50 points each. It
was like 126 to 125.
Yeah. I mean, it was like whoever got the ball last.
Yeah.
And that was so
awesome.
You're going to tell me that Jared Goff can't play that style?
And Jared Goff's receivers weren't great.
Yeah, I would argue that he's got probably the same, but he's got a better tight end now and a better running back and a hell of a lot better offensive line.
Big Hawk.
I think he's going to have a breakout year.
Dude, Swift, Hawk.
What about when Jameis comes back? Like if he comes back from injury
and DJ Chark.
I do. I like where you're headed. I just think that injuries. See, I'm being practical. I'm saying if they stayed healthy the entire year, then I think I can see where you're talking about where they like 9, 10, 11 wins. They could do that. I just know it's the NFL, and someone is gonna get hurt. A lineman's gonna get hurt. Hawk could get hurt. Swift.
Their depth is better on offense than it is on defense. Their depth on defense is trash.
Oh, very sus. Yep, very sus. So anyway, let's.
You're right. All they got to do is lose a few guys on defense, and
I mean, they should call you up, give you a 1-day contract. You do it.
Not on defense. More of an offensive guy.
Yeah. Well, there you go. My man. All right, rant time. Let's go. This is going to be a good one, folks.
Right.
Buckle
I'm gonna
up.
Keep it tight.
Let's roll.
Keep it tight. So I heard this at church last Sunday, and this is one of, I feel like the most, what is the word? It's like revelation. So one thing I want to mention first that people need to understand the difference between providence and miracles, right? Because I want to go bonkers when I hear someone like, oh, that's a miracle. No, it's not. It's providence, right? It's not just because you didn't think you could have a kid and now you're having a kid. That's not a miracle. A miracle, because people have kids all the time. But what you have in an incident like that is providence, right? It's that, God was there helping things along the way, but it wasn't some mind-shattering thing that occurred where like Jesus turned water into wine. That's a miracle, because that's not how that works. You can't just turn water into wine because you're a human. That's not how that works. And I just think we need to be better at putting God in the position that God is in, and understanding to not help blow away people from the church, understanding what is a miracle and what is God, what God does and what God ordains, let's say. That's what providence is, right? God kind of has his hand on it. A miracle is God turning water into wine. So I just want to throw that out there. But the phrase that the pastor said that is so powerful, which I think is great for today's world, is that people want to have the kingdom, right? So to break down the word, a king and then dumb means dominion. A king reigns dominion over something, right? So people want to have the kingdom, right? They want to have all these fruits that us as Christians believe Jesus brought back to us by getting rid of the law, the peace, the joy, all of those things that you can live a joyful life, right? They want to have all those things, all the fruits of it, but they don't want to have the king. They don't want to give praise or to give acknowledgement, let's say, to the reason why they have that opportunity. They want to say it's all because of them, right? I've put all the joy in my life. I've put peace in my life. I've put all this success and great family in my life. They want to have all these things, but they don't want to acknowledge the reason why they have those things. But here's the thing. You can't have a kingdom unless you have a king. You can't have a kingdom without the king. You can't have the fruits of the kingdom without acknowledging the one who gave it to you. So when people loved, let's say, the Romans, right? They were so great because they were protected, because they had this king that was reigning and, always had their armies ready, made sure that everyone knew not to mess with the Romans. Well, they couldn't have all that without acknowledging that they were Roman, without acknowledging that Caesar was king or whoever at the time. It's just like in this world, we can't have everything that we want, right? We can't have our cake and eat it too. We can't get to make the choices, whatever choice we want, good or bad, and still expect to have the kingdom, right? Because if the king says he doesn't agree with that, you can't do both. If the king doesn't like that, if the king knows that it's not going to give you good fortune in the future, or provide you with good mental stability, right? Good peace, good joy, things like that, good mental health, good physical health, good success in life. If he knows it's not going to provide that for you, then he's not going to want you to do it. So you can't have the kingdom without the king. And that's all there is to it. Like the one thing that always gets me when people say they don't believe in God, which I don't care. You don't have to believe in God. That's your choice. But I always say you have two options: believe in God or don't believe in God. There's no in between. But if you don't believe in God and you die, nothing happens. If you just happen to believe in God, at least there's a chance that I'm going to the afterlife. Because if you don't believe in God and there is a God, you're not going to the afterlife. But if you believe in God and there's not a God, well, you're in the same spot anyway. So you can't have the kingdom without having the king. And like the best thing that I read a book, I forget what it's called, and this is obviously not short at all. But you are born and inherently you know the difference between right and wrong. Right? You know you're not supposed to murder somebody. Like no one had to teach you that. So there's a moral law that you have just because you were born. But you can't have a moral law. You can't know the difference between right or wrong unless someone instilled that in you or something instilled that in you. So you don't have to believe in the God of Christianity, but you have to know that there were certain things that were instilled in you, a moral law, because there's a moral law maker. You have access to the kingdom because of the king. And when I read that, I'm like, wow, that makes so much sense. It doesn't have to be the God of Christianity. You can just believe in a higher
authority,
a higher power. Yeah, just a higher authority. Because if no one gave you this moral law, then you would think it's okay to walk across the street and shoot your neighbor. But we all know that's wrong. Right? We're not just savages roaming the world. And humans, even back in the day, they didn't kill each other. They killed animals. So it's like you were born with those things.
Nice. Nice. I think that was that. I mean, dude, these rants. We need to like have a whole separate YouTube channel just for the rants.
And that was 7 minutes.
Oh, good. I mean, but it made some good points. So, I mean, it's a good transition because we have a creator and we got some wholesome topics to talk about. And that's how we know they're wholesome, because there's a moral authority.
Right, exactly. Let's cue this video. Let's roll it. This is so awesome.
He decided that's what he's going to do. He just fucking clocked him. Oh. What the fuck? And then he takes his fucking wallet. I'm like, what the fuck? Hell no.
I wish I had to run off.
And then that was where he clocked me, the first clock.
Yeah, your glasses on too?
Yeah, he ruined my glasses. They're destroyed. She's getting the wallet, and my money is coming out of my pocket. See? Fuck all the fucking money.
I love the dude getting the play-by-play.
Yeah, right.
Did his face get busted when he was on the ground?
Well, yeah, I think the tackle, because when he hit me, there's a judo move that takes someone to the ground, and that's all I did.
Cut it there. It's so awesome, though.
It hog ties him.
Dude, that's how it should be, right? You don't go after an elderly person unless you're about to get your ass kicked.
That's the world we're living in right now. People think that there's no repercussions for these things, but maybe that guy doesn't believe in God, and he doesn't believe in the moral authority. Maybe, but then you find out what happens, and sometimes it goes badly for you.
That's called crazy, right?
Crazy, yeah, animalistic.
Dude, I like the name of that Instagram channel, Street People of Los Angeles.
Street people. Street people of LA.
All right, so let's dude, I'm ready to roll. I want to hear this. Chris's corner.
Man. Here we go.
I want to hear it. So number 1 here. Look at that. By the way, shout out to our boy TA. That little graphic for Chris's corner, I love it. Every time I see it.
I love TA.
Little graphic that you put together there.
You know what I love the most about TA? Is that he participates in our DraftKings. That's my favorite. So
I'm ready to take more of your money, so don't worry. Once we get that started,
wow! Shots fired!
Hey,
shots fired!
I'm 2 years in a row positive
You're about
On
to
what I
learn
put into
something
it.
today, boy. That's what he just said. Said
Well,
to
I
you,
mean,
Dave.
that's why we get, Dave in there. And
Yeah.
then we got
Make your losses a little bit
Razik.
less. Have them a little bit
we got
less.
Razik in the we got the real
Crystal.
deal is good for taking some money. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's a good
Thank
donation.
you for your $5 donation this week.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. And then Aaron.
Yeah,
Get in there.
Bador. Yeah,
Bador likes to make his donation as well. So, I mean, it's all good. They're funding the Building Walls podcast.
Absolutely.
And my money's on crushing Marks this year because he just had a baby girl, so he's got two kids under 2 years old.
Good for him.
Good luck.
That does not sound like
You're not gonna be able to focus. You're only winning by sheer luck.
Yeah. But he is a real man of genius.
Indeed, he does.
All right, so let's fire it off here. All right, the first question: has social media poisoned the ability to have a unified country, and is unity needed?
I mean, dude, solid question, and my answer is yes. Social media is like the bathroom wall of society. I swear to God, it's anybody can write anything. There's no way. Like, God, it's just so frustrating to me to see people who make decisions based on what somebody else posts that they don't know. They have no idea who this person is. They've never interacted with them. That person's never helped them with anything. But then they'll go to the mat because they think that they're onto something. And I just don't see how we're never going to be unified. Ever. I truly believe that there could be an invasion of California. And while you want to hope and believe that most Americans will be like, oh, no, you didn't. And rally up. But at this stage, people are so crazy. I got to believe that 19-20%, 1 out of 5 or so, people will be like, I don't know, maybe we deserve to be invaded. Whose land is this anyway? We should all share. Right?
Oh, man.
So I don't think that 100% unification is possible. And I do think that social media is to blame for that.
Whenever, I just thought about this when you were saying it, whenever the interaction becomes more superficial, the less connection you make, right?
Right.
Like, how good's a phone call versus meeting in person?
Yeah. And we do Zoom. You get FaceTime, you get to talk. And that's
right.
good. But it's not nearly as good as being able to, give the bro hug.
Right.
And just get a high five and sit across from each other, clink glasses and break bread together and celebrate each other's wins. It's just different. So
that's right. So, second question is, man, history repeats itself.
Amen, brother.
We're heading towards a time when taxation without representation. As we look to hire, the bill was just signed in by President Biden. 87,000 IRS agents, additional IRS agents, who, might I add, are asked to carry firearms, are being hired to come after you.
Well, I applied for the job. I applied for the job.
Did you really?
I'm going to.
That's
100%. I'll be one of those people. That's the only way to beat that.
Right.
Whatever. And dude, oh my God, the level of insanity with this. You want to talk about a misappropriation of priority? This is it. You have literally just had multiple school shootings where the topic of how can we get real resolution or how can we curb, this or solve this, and you're gonna allocate funds towards trying to tax people. You're taxing people. You're changing all the tax code. You're making it more difficult. Then you're going to take money from them to hire other people to make sure that those people paid their money. I'll say that again. they're taking money from you to hire people to make sure that they're taking money from you. That's insane. But meanwhile, we can't take that money and actually give it to, somebody who could protect the school or protect children. Or I don't know, how about 87,000 Border Patrol agents? Line them up on the southern border in Arizona and California, California, Arizona, and Texas. Come on. This is the best we can do. And I'm telling you what, man, what an irony of all ironies. The entire origination of the country came because we are being taxed without representation. Do you feel represented right now?
Dude, I just want to see if I did my math right, which I did because I did it twice. So 87,000 IRS agents, they're going to get a slew of government benefits. So let's say all in all, they're going to bring home with benefits, everything included, $50,000 a year.
That is low.
$4.35 billion per year. Per year. So for that to be effective, they would have to bring in more than $4.35 billion a year.
50,000.
Imagine the homeless people that could be fed on your tax dollars. So let me ask you this. Do you think that this is really something that's going to increase the tax burden on big businesses, or is this all kind of going to be a sham? It's going to really hurt the small business because allegedly it's not supposed to hurt anyone who makes less than
under 400
a year, right? So do you think hiring these IRS agents is actually going to bring in more tax revenue from big business?
Well, see, again, let's go back to the topic at the beginning of the show when I talked about the moving scale of wages and how everything goes up and more. So, 400,000 is the new 200,000, or the 400. Yeah, that's what it is. It's the new 200,000 because the 200,000 used to be a big benchmark, but now because everything costs more and everybody makes more, it's going to reset and people are going to be making $400,000 and they're just going to tax you. And you're going to be like, oh my God, but it costs, it costs so much money. I'm spending, I make 400 grand a year and go, oh my God, it's so amazing. That's unbelievable. And you're going to be like, yeah. And my payment on my house is $10,000 a month. And I live in a 2,000 square foot home. And, oh, by the way, gas for my cars, for my transportation costs me $5 grand a month. My payment for my cars are $1,000 a piece per month. And then I've got insurance on top of that. So see, the numbers just change. The value and the benefit does not. That's why a taco in Mexico costs like 14 trillion pesos.
All right, I'm going to flip these questions around just because of the flow of it. So why is it wrong that they say the Inflation Reduction Act will not increase taxes on those making less than $400K? Like, where's the false, and falsity?
Well, it's semantics. Again, is what it is. It's literally saying like, oh, okay, well, we're not going to raise your taxes. Like the tax brackets aren't going to change, except for everything else that you buy is going to have new taxes attached to it, and you're going to pay more. Everybody's going to pay more. That's what inflation is. Inflation is a tax on the populace in its entirety, and that's how they generate more money, and so that's how they justify their spending programs. And they go, well, we need stuff for climate control or climate change. We got to combat this. And that's why they have these gigantic initiatives. And they go, well, how are we going to fund it? Well, we're going to manipulate the economy and that everything is going up. Well, Chad, I mean, if last year you made 100,000 and this year you make 200,000, did you really double from last year? No, because the cost of everything went up. So no, you didn't truly double, but you paid a lot more in taxes because it's based on a percentage. It's not a flat rate. What if they said, hey, there's 350 million Americans, right? Or whatever the number is. They go off the census, right? And you have to pay, every American has to pay X amount of money. Like it's the same for everybody. You want equality? There you go. Every person's paying $1,000.
Shots fired.
Everybody's paying $1,000. Oh, that's not fair. Some people make more money than others. It's not about the revenue. It's about the expense. Everybody has the same expense. Just saying. That's it. That's equal. That's literally the definition of equal. Is I pay the same, that you pay the same, TA pays the same, our neighbors pay the same, everybody pays the same.
Equality.
Oh.
All right, so
my country, my choice.
Ooh. You're on fire so far. So let's get the last question here for you. So the Minneapolis Teachers Union has come to an agreement that they are. So this was actually the agreement was, I think, a year ago, and it was going to take place now in the fall of 2022 school year. So it's already been in the works. It's just now happening. So the Minneapolis Teachers Union is going to fire white teachers first before any underrepresented minorities. And it's not going to be based on seniority at all. It's fire white teachers first. But you fire the white teachers based on seniority. But even if a white teacher has been there 30 years, they get fired before the Hispanic teacher that just started a year ago. And that's, only if there's access or whatever. So is this not the definition of systemic racism?
Yep. So I just quickly Googled this, and roughly 53,585 teachers in Minnesota, which means that they should have 7,502 black teachers. And if there's more than that, well, then they're systemically racist. That would be equality based on demographics. So 53,585 times 0.75. There should be 40,189 white teachers based on the breakdown demographics of the racial composition. That's the word I was looking for. So that's fair. And if there's more than that, well, then, they need to figure out where the deficiency is and make sure that there's equality within the racial, all the sectors here. So 14% of America is black. Well, there better be 14% black teachers. That's ample representation. Represent, people.
That's good.
Represent. Let's go. Get involved. Get involved.
Right. And they shouldn't have to pay more for their school taxes until they get it figured out.
Nope. Everybody should pay the same. Pay the same, people. Pay the same.
That was awesome.
So, just saying.
Fantastic. All right. Well, before we wrap it up here, I found this video the other day. Fantastic video. Let's watch it really, really quick and just give me your thoughts on what you think about this.
If you don't know how to market, you have to be a good salesperson. If you know how to market, you blow away the next 10 best salespeople. Nike didn't call me and sell me this in a catalog. I bought this swoosh because it's ingrained in my soul. Do you understand what this little fucking swoosh is? This fucking sneaker's a commodity. You and I can make this right now in China. But this fucking swoosh is worth $1 trillion. People are fucking confused out here. Every one of you is wearing clothes right now that's a commodity, but you chose it for a reason. Do you understand? It's only brand. Branding wins every day of the week, but it's hard. If you don't know how to market, you have to be a good salesman.
It's very hard, and it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of buy-in.
See, I like that video for two different reasons. The one reason is, yes, it's true, right? You have to understand where you're at in the process. But the other thing that, I want people to, because I think a lot of people see stuff like that, and then they immediately think they need to change how they do business.
Like, what do you mean?
Phil Knight spent years creating Nike. Spent years. It's now 30, 40, 50 years in the future that Gary Vee sees that sneaker, the swoosh, and buys it because it's a swoosh.
Right.
He wouldn't have bought that swoosh 40, 50 years ago when Phil Knight was selling them up and down the West Coast, because no one knew who Nike was, right? But people see those things and they're like, oh my gosh, I need to start this massive branding campaign right now. And I even see this with what I do. People are trying to influence me to do more branding and spend money in that area. I'm like, listen, I want people to walk in the door. They don't know who I am. If I spend money on trying to get them to know who I am, I'm not spending money on people walking in the door. So the first thing I need to do is focus on getting people to walk in the door. And that's why when you get the big business of things, the reason I say it is because there's a time and a place for everything, right? Mm-hmm. If you're going through business, whatever you're trying to do, focus on what you need to focus on now, while also in the background of things, work on what it's going to take to create you long-term success. But don't run away, because those things are usually easier. A branding campaign may it seems cool and fancy, and I would love to do that stuff, but you need to drive business in the door first. And Gary Vee's only saying that in 2022 because of what Phil Knight did years ago.
Right. And think about all the big brands.
Right.
Like automotive. List 3 brands in automotive right now. 1.
Yeah, GM, Chevy, or GM, Dodge, and Ford.
Yep. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Benz, Jaguar, all brands.
Right.
But those took a long time to get to that point. How about food? Coke, Pepsi.
Right. But now understand the truth is how powerful those brands are because of what they did years ago.
Right. It takes a long time and a lot of buy-in and a lot of effort. You gotta, it's blended. It's not an either or. So that's kind of the false choice. It's not an either or. You do have to have customers. You have to get word of mouth. You have to get that support. You have to have repeat. And you have to be building your brand. What do you stand for? That brand is like the stuff that people can reliably count on when they encounter you and your business. I know what I'm getting when I buy a Nike. I know what I'm getting when I stay at the Ritz-Carlton. I know what I'm getting when I fly on Delta. That's the point. Do they know what they're going to get when they go to Mitten Made Properties? Do they know what they're going to get when they go to Crypto Mining Racks? Brought to you by CryptoMiningRacks.com. Wrenching Whalls, like your shop. That's the key, is making sure that people know what they're going to get.
Depends on who you ask. That answer could vary.
Are you a prophetic man of God or not?
Oh, geez, yes. I'm glad you said that.
Troy!
Troy! I'm so glad you said that. Oh, that's awesome.
My man.
Dude, that was good. Great show.
Our show's coming up. Commander Whalls. That's coming out here in a couple weeks.
September 17th, something like that.
And Game of Thrones hits Sunday.
Dude, that last season was so disappointing that it's kind of hard for me to get fired up about this show.
I know. I might give it a shot just because, they earned that right for having enough good content for me to at least give them the shot.
Right.
But if it sucks, I'm on to bigger and better things.
So what'd you think about the terminal list?
Amazing. We should do a show on that next week. In fact, we got to get Brandon Gentili back on here and have him talk about it because he
loves that show?
Oh, yeah. He's the one that told me about it.
Let's go.
So
Let's go.
It's solid. It's solid.
It's such a good show.
So,
Dude, that first episode, it'll rip your heart out.
yeah, I wasn't ready for that. And I was just like, I'm not sure I can make it through this. I'm not sure.
How I described the first episode to Sydney, because I watched it before she did, then I watched it with her. I said, listen, the show starts out, you have no idea what's going on. Like, why am I watching this? And by the end of the episode, you're looking at each other saying, what just happened?
Yeah. Is that
like
real?
This is the most intense show ever.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's on Amazon Prime. You definitely need to check it out. The Terminalist, Chris Pratt, amazing.
Increase those 1.6 billion minutes of viewership.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Commander
Whalls.
Praise be the fruit.
Blessed day. Under his eye.